Hi keyboarders, it's Mrs. Kessel, and in this video I'm going to walk you through how you are going to do beginner lesson 3 asynchronously. So your class has already done beginner lesson 1 and beginner lesson 2 synchronously with me on Zoom, and now you're going to have to do a whole day's lesson by yourself on Schoology. So since this is the very first time you're doing this by yourself on Schoology, I'm going to use this video to walk you through it. And then every other day from now on, I'll just put the slideshow in and you can do what you're supposed to. Okay. So for all of our typing lessons, I put, just like when I teach in Zoom, from now on, I'm going to be putting those slideshows right in Schoology. So where it says beginner lesson 3 slideshow, you would click that, and it automatically opens the slideshow, just like I would show in a Zoom. And you can see that this is beginner lesson 3. And the slides do change on their own. So if you go to do something and come back and it's on a totally different slide, I can't stop that. It just does it. Okay, so just go back. But you can always look down here at the bottom and see what slide you are in. So what you would do is, first, let's remember the difference between synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is the lessons that we do all together at once on Zoom. Those happen with me or with your teachers, and they are done in the mornings, okay? So if you are watching this is not synchronous. This is asynchronous, which is lessons you do independently on Schoology. So you might do you will do asynchronous lessons every single afternoon, okay? But also sometimes you might do a lesson asynchronous if you were absent. So maybe you missed the Zoom meeting and you have to go back and figure out what you missed. So then you would do it asynchronously, okay? Which is by yourself. And those are done in the afternoons when you're done with your Zoom meetings. Those all happen in the afternoon, okay? So the beginning of every slideshow is going to ask you this question. It says, click on the button for today's lesson. Today, are you? If you're in a Zoom meeting with me and you want to follow along on your own slideshow, you would click synchronous. I'm in a Zoom meeting with Mrs. Kessel, and this will take you to the right slides. And here's BTS looking perfectly in sync. They're all together. They're demonstrating what synchronous is. If you look at the picture, the GIF of BTS here, they're all doing their own thing. They're independent. So if you are working by yourself on Schoology right now, that means you are asynchronous and you would click here. So once this video is over, you are going to open the slideshow. It's very meta. It's a video of the slideshow inside. There's videos in it. It's very meta, but you're going to do this after, okay? You're going to click on asynchronous. And let's look at today's asynchronous agenda. So for today, now normally you would read this yourself, but I'm going to read it to you today. We're going to go over our asynchronous learning expectations. Every day in our Zoom meeting, we've been going over our synchronous learning expectations, but we also have some asynchronous expectations. We are going to review posture for keyboarding, how you sit. And then you're going to get to watch the video and do beginner lesson 3 and do your missing work, okay? And then if you have done all of those things, you get to play typing games on typing.com. So let's look at our asynchronous learning expectations. And every day I will expect you to reread these, just like in our Zoom meetings. We read them at the beginning of every class, okay? So the first one is, I expect you to be on time to your asynchronous learning. So it says, go to each afternoon class at the correct time. See the schedule. And I put a schedule down here. We'll talk about that in a second. And complete work before the end of class. Your responsibility is to read and watch all updates posted by the teacher. So when you first open Schoology, it shows you all the updates. You need to go through and read them or watch them and do anything that your teacher read everything your teacher has posted for you. Every day, I expect you to check in with all of your Schoology classes. Because, even if you met with that teacher on Zoom that morning, they might have posted something like homework or something for you to finish. So quickly check every single one of your Schoology pages every day, okay? And then it says check the overdue and upcoming boxes on the homepage for assignments. When you first get in Schoology, on the right-hand side, there's two boxes. One says overdue, one says upcoming. The overdue box will have anything that was due and you didn't turn in on time. The upcoming will have everything that your teachers have put in that you have to turn in soon, and it tells you when it's due. So if you have missing work, it will show up in that overdue. If you have upcoming work, it will show up in the upcoming. But just know that not necessarily all of your assignments would be in Schoology. Like we have assignments on typing.com that I don't necessarily put into Schoology. So you also have to check other places like your Student Connect to make sure your grades are up to date, okay? Participation. You have to complete all of your assignments every day. So whatever your teacher posts for asynchronous learning, you have to do that day. Not when you feel like it a week from now, you do it that day. You have to respond to any polls or discussions your teacher posts and complete any overdue or missing work. Communication. You are expected to email your teacher if you need help with something. Please remember, email is not like texting, okay? You don't get an answer back immediately every time. So once you email your teacher, just leave it. They will get back to you, okay? If your teacher is having office hours, go to them if you need help. So I'm going to show this on another slide later on, but I will be having office hours from now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. If you need help in the afternoon, you can just go to that Zoom and I will help you, okay? Your other teachers might also be having office hours in the afternoon. As far as quality goes, I expect you to read all of the directions for every assignment. I expect you to do your work to the best of your ability, which means you're following those directions, you're doing everything it says. And I wrote really tiny, don't just open the assignment and turn them in blank. I've had people turn in stuff that like they just opened it and did nothing and then turned it in. That'd be like if I said, okay, go do this worksheet, and you just looked at it and then gave it back to me and said, okay, I'm done. No, you have to do it, okay? Make sure you complete everything it says to do, especially in my class. I like to make the little lists where you have to do this, then you have to do this, then you have to do this. Do all parts of your assignments. And when your teacher does grade and return something to you, look at it and check the comments, because if they said something positive, you'll want to see that. And if you didn't get such a great grade, they might give you some feedback saying, oh, fix this, or this is how you do it. And then you can change your work and get a better grade. As far as homework goes, I know you're like, Mrs. Castle, we're learning from home. Everything's homework. Well, just like if we were in school face-to-face, anything you don't complete in your classes becomes homework. So if it was an asynchronous class, an afternoon by yourself, and you run out of time, just keep going. Just keep working and get it done. Or take a break, have dinner, and then come back. If it was something for your synchronous class that you were doing while you were on Zoom with your teacher and you didn't finish it, you have to do it. You have to get it done. Unless they said not to, you have to get it done, okay? So if you're watching this video right now, you are in my first hour. So first hour, it's a B day today. For B days on Schoology, that's when you come to my class on Schoology, okay? A days, you see me live, but on B days, you go to Schoology. So if you're in my first hour, from 12:10 to 1:05, you're supposed to be on Schoology doing your work for your third hour class. That's either science or global studies. You do that by yourself, not on Zoom. From 1:10 to 2:05, you do second hour work. That's once again either global studies or science by yourself, asynchronous. And then at 2:10, you come to this class, my Schoology class. 2:10 to 3:10, you do your first hour keyboarding work. Okay. Now, let's say you get done with your third hour stuff early, you get done with your second hour stuff early. Yeah, you can start your first hour stuff early, but just make sure that all of this is done by 3:10 so that you don't get counted as absent. Because if you're not doing your work for a class, That's when those phone calls come home at about 4 o'clock saying you were absent from class. So make sure you're doing your work so you don't get marked absent. If for some reason you're watching this and you're in my 7th hour, you do keyboarding on A days asynchronously. So same time though, 2:10 to 3:10 is when you do keyboarding, okay? So what are you supposed to do today? Now, normally, like I said, you would watch the slideshow by yourself and read this to yourself, but for today, I'm going to read it to you. Let's remember our keyboarding posture. This guy is demonstrating the wrong way. He's like laying down. He's just, his arms, he's got like crazy long arms. They're really far away. He's really far away. This is not how you do it. We have someone who's sitting right. She is sitting correctly. She's sitting up tall. She's got the keyboard right in front of her. Her elbows are at her sides. Her feet are flat on the floor. This is how you sit. And remember, the reason we sit like this is because when we hunch over or we lay down while we type, it's going to hurt places like our neck, our elbows, our wrists, our back, our knees, our ankles over time. And normally you guys probably don't notice it because you don't sit at a computer all day. But now that we're in school online, you are sitting at a computer all day and it is going to start to hurt if you aren't sitting right. So to start building that stamina in this class the whole time from 8:15 to 9:10 or from 2:10 to 3:10, I want you sitting up tall, practicing that. And then if you want to start practicing it in other classes as well, that will really help you overall. Okay. And please remember that your wrists should be straight, no bent wrists. Okay. So let's go over the key points of posture. Your body is in the middle of the keyboard, centered in front of the keyboard. And it says back against the back of the chair. I always say your butt should be against the back of your chair. And then you're sitting up nice and tall. Your elbows and knees are at a comfortable 90-degree angle. If you have a tall chair and you can't reach the floor, do what I do and put like a little box under your feet. Your feet should be flat on the floor. No crossed ankles. Wrists are straight and fingers are curved. Remember, that's how we type, with curved fingers. Your eyes should be slightly downward. Okay, you shouldn't be like looking down because it's not in your lap. Your Chromebook should be on a table and you should be at a chair. And your distance from the monitor should be about 2 feet. But I know because your Chromebook and keyboard, they're all the same thing, it might not be 2 feet. And then once we start doing stuff from the packet where you have to like type up a story, that should be like next to your screen. It shouldn't be on the table or in your lap. It should be up next to the screen. And I'll show you how to do that when we get to it. So I'm not going to play this video for you. When you're done watching me talk and teach, you're going to go into that this slideshow and you are going to watch the video for DEI. DEI is beginner lesson 3. And it gives the directions for your keyboard. So like the blue box says, it says, this is what your keyboard should look like today. After you watch that video, and in the video, I'm going to give directions for how to fill out the keyboard. You're going to check it and make sure it looks like mine. I am collecting this next Wednesday, and we'll have a few more keys before then. But next Wednesday, you're going to have to take a picture of your keyboard and turn it into me. So you need to make sure you are following along each day and doing it right. I should not see the whole thing filled out. It should just be this today, plus your fingers, okay? So your orange, yellow, gray, green, and blue fingers should be filled in. After you watch the video, you fill out your keyboard, you are going to sign into Clever. There's a Clever button in our class, okay, the pink one. Click the Clever button. And then once you're signed into Clever, go to typing.com. Please remember, if you don't sign in through Clever, I cannot see your work and I will make you redo it. I'm not just going to say, oh, okay, I believe you. No, I've told you enough times, you have to sign in with Clever. If you don't sign in with Clever, sorry, just do it again. You are going to do beginner lesson 3, which is DEI. You have to do all of the screens twice. So I forget how many there are. I think it's like 9 or 10 or 11, something like that, screens for DEI. You have to do all of them one time. Then once you've done all of them one time, you go back and do all of them a second time. And that's going to help us build that muscle memory in our fingers. You have to get a 95% accuracy or higher to get points for this. You either get 0 points or 10 points. I don't say, oh, you did part of it, you get part of the points. No. You have to do it all twice and get a 95% or higher to get 10 points. If you miss one of those criteria, you get 0 points. So do it. Make sure you're using correct posture and you're not looking at your fingers. And I know you're like, Mrs. Castle, you're not here. I'm home and I'm by myself. How are you going to know if I looked or not? I'm not going to know if you looked today. But when you have to take your typing test and I make you turn your camera on and look at the screen, it's going to show in your test score. So we practice it like we're going to perform it. Your test is your performance. So practice it looking at the screen and not looking at your fingers. I know it's tempting, but don't do it. Notice I'm not looking at your score anywhere on here, or not your score, excuse me. I'm not looking at your speed anywhere on here. I don't care if you go slowly. I just want you to get it right. So don't worry about your speed. If you do it slow, but you're doing it right, that's what I want. Once you build that muscle memory in, you will get faster. Okay. So if you are like, yes, I want to learn how to type really fast without looking at the screen, Mrs. Kessel, telling you this is how you do it. Don't look at your fingers. All right. If you finish before the end of, or it needs to be finished before the end of class. If not, it's homework. So when you finish, if you finish and it is not 3:10 yet, I expect you to complete any missing work you have for this class. And on Monday, the red button, I did post a whole lesson about how to find your missing work and how to do that. So look back on Monday. If you choose, if you have completed your missing work and all of your beginner lesson 1, beginner lesson 2, beginner lesson 3, you can go stay on typing.com and choose a typing game, but you do have to practice without looking at your fingers and using correct posture. So that's going to help you build that muscle memory even more, but it's a fun way because you get to play a game. Upcoming work this afternoon. It's afternoon now, but if you did not finish beginner lesson 3, it's homework. So just keep working and go back and complete any missing work you have. Tomorrow, you are going to come to Zoom with me at 8:15. Be there early, don't be late. And then tomorrow is also a half day. So you will do your morning, you will not do all your morning classes, excuse me. You will do first hour tomorrow on Zoom. You will do second hour tomorrow on Zoom. You will do third hour tomorrow on Zoom. I don't think you go to advisory on Zoom. I have to double check. I'll let you know tomorrow in our Zoom meeting, okay? But then you don't have to do any afternoon classes. Okay, so tomorrow's a half day. Be excited. So get your work done today, and then tomorrow you have that half day. Okay, now like I said, if you have questions for me, you can check in during office hours on Zoom. I will be doing Zoom office hours from now on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And that will be from 1:30 to 3. How that will work is I'll just have a Zoom meeting open and you just wait in the waiting room until I call you in. So if you are like, I've been in this waiting room for like 10 minutes, Mrs. Kessel, I promise I know you're there. That just means I have another student in there with me and we're having a private conversation. So don't sign out of Zoom. Just click another tab, do some other work, and then when you hear me start talking to you, come back to Zoom. Okay? So this is not the same link as our morning Zoom meetings. This is a different link. Okay? So you have to come in this slideshow and click the link to get to my office hours Zoom meeting. Okay? And if it's not an office hours day, which today is, but if you don't want to come to office hours or you think it's just a quick question, you can always send me an email. If you send it during the school day, I will try my hardest to get back to you before the end of the school day. However, if you message me after school, I will get back to you the next day. Just like you have a life and a family, I have a life and a family. So once again, don't send me a million emails if I don't respond to you. Just leave it and I promise I will get to you. Okay? So right now what you're going to do is you're going to close this video and then you are going to go into the week 3 folder and you are going to click the slideshow and you are going to follow the slideshow Okay, I have to go to, you're going to read this, right? You're going to click asynchronous because this is an asynchronous day. And then you're going to go through the slides. I already went through them with you. Watch the video and do everything it says to do in here. And I will see you at 8:15 tomorrow. Goodbye.